So I've been in actual professional journalism now since 2001, which is a sort of scary long time, coming up on 19 years, which is terrifying. I got into it really because I was just really, we had those films as kids we all watched, and mine was Superman, and he was a journalist, of course. Clark Kent was a journalist. And if you remember Superman 2, the plot is he gets into the office, the first thing he says is, I want you to go to Paris and cover the story. And always something subliminally went into me and thought, wow, what an amazing job where you get told to walk into an office in New York and you're straight off to Paris. And I thought, so yeah, as I kind of went along and I wanted to do something, I was like, well, what about that? And literally that's where it came from. So blame Superman for that. I really originally wanted to cover sport, but then I realised I only really knew about football, and then I wanted to cover music, and I kind of realised that the bottom was falling out of the music journalism area. And yeah, I ended up in B2B journalism. My first job was in 2001, working for a small company in near Crouch End, covering electrical products, and then just kind of worked around the jobs until I got to cybersecurity in 2008. I think my favourite thing about the job is just the opportunity to learn. It's a great, especially writing about cybersecurity, is there's so many people out there willing to explain things to you, which some people don't like, but I see that as an opportunity to try and learn more. So one of the sort of the grudges I have against people in cybersecurity is there seems to be this kind of superiority complex that everyone feels that you can't stick your hand in the air and ask a stupid question. It's like, sorry, what exactly do you mean? I think actually that tide is turning a little bit. We did see an incident at Black Cat where someone put his hand in the air, Dan Raywood, and said, I don't understand what you're talking about, you're talking rubbish, or words to that effect. We're finding that now with people who are actually sort of prepared to ask the more simple questions. And what's great is, the people I've worked with Spark is actually, you can sort of have these people who go, sorry, like, what do you mean by managed services? Is what your clients think, for example. What do you mean so I don't understand what ransomware is. And if we're trying to get new people into the industry, both as practitioners and also on the sort of writing side, they can't be expected to walk in on day one and understand absolutely everything. And so when I came in 2008, I kind of, right, here's my point I'm starting, and then try and learn as much from the past as happened as I could. Oh, blimey, that's quite hard because I've done a lot over the years. I mean, some of the ones actually, funny enough, the ones that really stand out are the ones that are a bit more of a challenge. Whether it's been someone that you've been wanting to talk to for a while, and eventually they kind of not buckle to you because you don't want to feel like you're sort of pressuring them into stuff. But something that's very hard to reach, and you finally get around to meeting, like, so maybe it's someone with a very high profile. There's one I always stick in my mind, which was, his name escapes me now, but he was then the CTO of SecureWorks, who became part of Dell and aren't anymore. And John, I can't remember his surname, but he was very challenging. He makes challenging in every question I asked him. And the poor guy was from a different PR company, not Spark, I should point out this, but I see him kind of cringing in the corner thinking, what is he doing? But it became a bit of a joke between me and this PR guy, because he was always a bit like, don't worry, John's not on this one. But it was really interesting because it challenged me to think, am I asking the right questions? And he came out at the end sort of saying, I really enjoyed this. And I'm like, good, because for me, it's great that you're able to sort of understand where I'm coming from. So yeah, it's probably been stuff like that when you actually, you get to meet someone you really admire, which there are a lot of people I admire, but also at the same time, it's good to see something that you think, am I just following the motions here, or am I actually going to try and achieve something that's going to be worthwhile for both of us? Yeah, I wouldn't say challenge every journalist, because every journalist is different. I'm sure you're aware of that. There were some who would really appreciate the questions back to make it more of a discussion. Well, there are some who literally just want to sort of like, here are my questions, please answer them. That's something you and they have to gauge. Up to all three parties have to gauge, really. But I think to have actually a discussion, because I'm sure you do so many calls where it's like kind of get on, they get sort of 2 comments, 10 minutes, and it's like that's all I need. And it's like, well, actually, if you're kind of taking the opportunity of this person's time, let's try and work out what else we can figure out from it. I'm not saying I do that with every single call, or even every single pitch I get, because I would never get any work done if I constantly was challenging back and forth. But at the same time, it's, it helps yourself if you can think, am I asking the right questions? Am I getting enough from this to actually then, because what you don't want to do is then go away, try and write it, think, damn, I wish I'd asked that. And then I have to email you, and then you get some email over comment where it doesn't really, and you never really click it. And the person there wants to actually talk to you, so you've got to try and work with that. So the last 12 months have been quite interesting. If we just take like this year, 2019, someone said to me, what's been the best story of 2019? It's kind of hard to pick one out because I don't think we've really had that sort of notable story. I mean, the one that's starting to be a little bit persistent is the Capital One breach. But we're only talking, I can't tell you how long when that happened, but I just heard something this morning about it actually impacted 30 other companies. This was in ZDNet, I think. So this has only come out in the last few days. So it's starting to get a little bit persistent, and also you're seeing a lot of correlation with what happened with the Equifax breach as well. So that's probably been one. I mean, I didn't write that one, I'm hesitant to add. We did cover it, but I didn't break that story by any means. I think actually, funny enough, the story, we literally, our next print issue, which is going to come out in probably about early mid-September, I've just done an article on PSD2, which is the new Payment Services Directive. The second one, of course, hence the two. And I was kind of really keen to write this because I did some research earlier this year, and that came up quite a lot as a trend in compliance. And I thought, well, I don't really know what it is. I'm willing to bet the majority of the audience don't know what it is. So let's do a bit more of a deep dive into it. And even my editorial director, Heather Nadal, came to me yesterday and said, I thought your article was really good. And that usually kind of praise is pretty sort of reserved with her. But yeah, I was really happy with that, actually.